One scene you absolutely need if you want your story to work, and I call it the comparing scars scene, okay? And what is a comparing scars scene? Well, really what a comparing scars scene is, it's a scene in which your characters bond. Of course, it's from the most famous bonding scene in movie history from Jaws, in which we have our three men hanging out on the boat right before they're going to go in conflict with the shark, and they start comparing their scars and they start talking about their past and they bond, they have a few drinks. And why do you need this scene? Well, I think in so many movies right now are skipping this scene, they're skipping this moment, and as a result, we never really quite connect to the characters. I think a really good example of this is if we look at the movie Rogue One versus The Force Awakens and the new Star Wars stuff. And I'm going to say I do like Rogue One a hair better than A Force Awakens. It's got more of an interesting plot. It's got more unique elements. But where I think Force Awakens is stronger, it's probably the only place where it's stronger, is it spends a lot of time with the characters bond, and so you really understand why Finn has an affinity for Rey has an affinity for Finn, and Poe and Finn are friends. You get moments in which these characters bond and become friendly. In Rogue One, there's this obviously tearful ending in which, these two people are embracing each other, but we've never really seen them connect. Like, they tell us they're connected, but it doesn't really work for me. I don't feel connected to either character at all. I feel like they're very bland, kind of cookie cutter characters, even though both actors are great and they have, and the story's working. I just feel like I can't connect to them because I'm never given a scene in which I see them connect, right? So what you need to do is you need to learn from Jaws, and you need to give us a scene in which characters just stop everything and bond with each other. And what that does is, if we know that they love each other, we begin to love them too, and we also understand the relationships between them. In the scene in Jaws, what's great about this and how powerful this comparing scars scene is, if you think about it, Jaws is not a character study. I mean, you're not learning a ton about Chief Brody and Shaw, right? Or Richard Dreyfuss' character. You're not learning a lot about them. So, and there's no time. We're going to watch a shark eat people. We're going to watch Chief Brody sort of run around and save people on the beach. So we want to see that. We don't want to see, a movie about characters necessarily. So really that one scene is doing all the work of making us love them and care about it and be sad when Shaw, bites it in a few minutes later. The comparing scars scene is something that is just going to bond your characters and bond your audience to them. A great example of this is Suicide Squad.
Stupid bats, you're ruining date night!
Not that one. The good Suicide Squad. There's a great scene in the center of this movie where Idris Elba's Bloodsport and Ratcatcher's daughter have a conversation. Ratcatcher talks about her father, and we get to understand and know them a little bit better, and the moment bonds them in a way that when later on bad things are going to happen and they're in peril, we really start to care. And I think James Gunn is a master at this. He does this all the time. You can see I did a video breaking down some of his style. I think he does this, in the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. So many scenes and so much effort is putting into watching the people bond and fall in love with each other that I think it's part of why we love them. A lot of movies are skipping this now, and I've noticed this, and it seems like they're skipping it because they feel like they need to get to the action scenes. They need this pacing to be relentless to get us to the point where all we want is action, 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 action. But the reality is that action is not loaded with feeling and emotional. There's not an emotion to it. Then we don't care so much. It doesn't matter. I think the John Wick movies do this great. With the last John Wick movie, we saw a lot of bonding with his old friend Kane, who's eventually going to like have to fight against, and we see how these men care about each other, and it makes it more tragic when they have to try to kill each other. So that's a comparing scars scene. I think it's a good trick if you want to bond your audience to your characters. Have us get a chance to watch them bond with each other, and I think that's a really good way to do it. I'll be putting one of these out a week, going into various aspects of writing advice. Please check them out. If you want more writing advice, you can check out the Screenwriter's Workbook that I've created, which is a nice way to work out the details of your screenplay before you go in and start writing.